A big thank you to Wesley from Game Informer, who has been sharing much of the information that we've been discussing in some of these recent Dragon Age the Veilguard news videos. Chapter markers will be below, and I do have a sponsor in today's video, but more on that shortly. Let's jump right in. So let's start off with what we know about the Veilguard's difficulty options, and surprisingly, there's actually a little bit of a controversy or a little bit of internet drama going on here regarding something. We'll get to that shortly. So before your adventure begins, you will be able to select a difficulty mode, which is also being referred to as a playstyle. And most of these can be changed at any time during your run, with the exception of Nightmare mode, which is of course the Veilguard's hardest difficulty mode. That appears to be a more permanent selection, which I actually think is pretty cool, because I'd say that many of the players that go into difficulties like a Nightmare mode are doing it for the challenge, and knowing that you can't just lower the difficulty at any time does add to that challenge. It kind of forces you to overcome the challenges with no way out, and that actually gets players like myself more excited. Now there's also going to be a storyteller difficulty, which will of course most likely make combat pretty easy so players can focus more on the story. We know of an adventure mode difficulty, which Wesley seems to think balances story and combat. Now that is only 3 core difficulties right there: storytelling, adventure, and nightmare. But this was from a demo of the game, so I'm assuming that there's going to be at least one more difficulty, maybe a reasonable hard difficulty, so not as hard as Nightmare. The previous DA games did have 4 core difficulties, but with that said, we've also been informed about an Unbound mode, which allows you to customize your gameplay experience with options to adjust damage that opponents deal, enemy health adjustments, enemy pressure, wayfinding assistance, which deals with UI navigation. There's aim assistance, levels, which also includes an auto aim option, parry timing adjustments, and we also know of an option to turn off character death, which has sparked some debate, which we are going to get into. But before we get too deep into it, let's talk about food with this video's sponsor, Factor.
Whew, baby.
Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved meals right to your doorstep. All you need to do is pop it into the microwave, and 2 minutes later you're eating good. Factor has been a huge time saver for myself, especially when new games come out, and the best part of it is it allows me to save time while also allowing me to maintain my nutrition goals, because let's face it, I'm getting old, maybe a little fat, and 2 a.m. soda and chips just ain't cutting it anymore. Eating stress-free this summer has been great, and Factor offers a huge variety of choices with flexible plans, and you can choose from a weekly menu of 35 options that includes some special categories such as Protein Plus and Vegan and Veggie, and there's also 60 plus add-ons each week, such as these delicious juices to get your day started. So let's get back to soaking in the summer sun, lay off the stressful meal prepping, the stressful grocery shopping, and the worst of them all, the cleanup process, and add some delicious convenience to your life with Factor. So head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code WolfheartFPS to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code WolfheartFPS at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Easily my favorite and most delicious video sponsor ever. Back to the video. So if you mess with your Unbound mode settings, you can basically turn your character into a god, and you can turn off death, or the ability to die, which many are calling god mode. And you can also basically boost the crap out of your character, including having these auto aimed options turned on so you don't have to aim, etc. This sounds very much like you becoming invincible and being a living god on Thedas. So this god mode has apparently angered some gamers out there, and honestly I think some people just haven't fully thought it through yet. Surprise. And they're thinking too much of Souls games when they should be thinking of Dragon Age games, or even most other story RPGs in existence. I actually understand the argument that From Software games should not have multiple difficulties. Difficulty is literally a core design pillar for these games, and extreme difficulty is what From Software built its success on. It's the brand, it's what they focus on, and it's not for everyone. Honestly, I think that's okay. For Dragon Age, however, and most other RPGs, especially single-player offline ones, this is just absolutely not the case. Difficulty is not a center core design pillar. It's an option. And if you're a highly skilled gamer and you love to be challenged and you always choose the harder difficulties in games such as Baldur's Gate 3, the previous Dragon Age games, the Witcher games, Elder Scrolls games, Cyberpunk, etc. The list just goes on forever with all these games that offer different options. Well, that's great. I'm with you. I also do that myself. But you can't really be against games like Dragon Age having this God mode option, and also be okay with games offering, you know, storytelling modes or easy modes. And I don't see much pushback over those modes, and most of your favorite RPGs likely have those options, because easy mode is already basically God mode to you, a player of your skill and your ability. God mode basically already exists in most of these games for you. You just don't choose it. Many of you would feel invincible on easy modes if you've been playing on harder modes. So who cares if Dragon Age offers an invincibility type mode? Who cares if BioWare is taking an easy mode or a storytelling mode and pushing it a bit further? None of these modes are for you, just like Nightmare mode is not going to be for many of those players. Now, if you want to criticize the combat system as an overall system, go for it. You guys should know that I certainly have my own concerns, but I think it's a little ridiculous to hone in on this type of game having this very optional godlike mode feature that most of you will never touch or even have to think about. But these options will benefit some gamers out there, especially when you take into account some disabilities. This is not a FromSoft game. Your experience is not being ruined by more options here. If the combat turns out to be really bad, your experience is being ruined by overall bad game design, not a single option or a couple options. And also, real quick before we move on to character creation, think about all the gamers out there that skip through dialogue and story stuff in these types of games. Well, players who love story and dialogue probably think you're just as stupid as you think they are stupid for wanting to, you know, speed through the combat or activate a god mode. It's all silly. These are RPGs. You play it the way that you want, and as long as you're enjoying yourself, that's all that matters. Who cares what other people are doing? Okay, moving on to more info on the character creator, but do note that BioWare has stated that we will be seeing the character creator at some point before the game launches. Really hoping that they do what Dragon's Dogma did. It was a genius idea, and, you know, releasing a version of the character creator that we can use before the game launches. So Wesley from Game Informer says that this is Dragon Age's best character creator yet, and that it's a staggeringly rich creation system, and he looks forward to seeing players create near replicas of celebrities and monstrous creations that will be more at home in a horror game. Now, at the start of character creation, you can expect to make your racial choice, and there are of course 4 races to choose from: elves, Kunari, humans, and dwarves. And the Kunari actually get to choose from more than 40 horn options. You will have the ability to view your character in 4 different lighting scenes at any time in the character creation process, and these scenes include a purple hue scene, which is kind of like the Veilguard's theme, bright sunny tropical day type lighting, a gothic night, and I'm not really sure about the 4th option. You can also toggle on and off your character's starting gear, and also casual wear to get a better idea how they'll look when you're not running around naked or in whitey tighties. And there's even going to be an option where you can toggle on to view aspirational armor, which is armor that you won't be seeing until mid to late game. Shortly after that, you'll choose your character's pronouns, their gender, and different body types. Head and body presets can be selected individually and of course also customized to your own desire. There's 40 different complexions that includes options for smooth, rugged, youthful, and freckled skin tones, skin hues ranging from cool to neutral to warm, undertones to those skin tones, a melanin slider, a vitiligo slider which adjusts intensity and the amount of it. There's sliders for your foreheads, your brows, your cheek, your jaw, your chin, your larynx, and your scalp. Oh crap, what did I write here? Scalp? Scrap? I don't know what that is. Wesley says you can choose undergarments or you can do it nude. And there's a body morpher, which basically allows you to select 3 presets for each corner of a triangle. And you basically just move your cursor within the triangle to morph your body or your head into a mix of these 3 selected preset. You can adjust your character's height, your shoulder width, your chest size, your glute and bulge size, hip width, the bloodshotness of eyes, the visibility of cataracts, the sclera color, crookedness of your nose, nose bridge size, nostril and nose tip size, and Wesley even says that there's as many sliders, if not more, for the mouth and the ears. Now for the ears, we know that you can adjust the asymmetry, the depth, the rotation, earlobe size, and you can add cauliflower to your ears. There's 30 different makeup options, which includes eyeliner, intensity, color, glitter, eyeshadow, lips, blush, and more. Now, tattoos are apparently highly customizable as well as scars and paint options, and many of these cosmetics will be culturally relevant to some lineages in the game. For example, elves will have their own unique tattoos. Now, tattoos, and I'm assuming also scars and also paint, can be added to the face, body, arms, and legs, but Wesley only confirmed tats for all of those locations, but I think the other ones probably can as well. Now, the most important part of a character creator, unless you are bald, are the hair options, and Wesley says that there are a ton of choices, including plenty of long hair options. Do note that you will be able to dye your hair with non-traditional colors. Now, after all of this, which I'm assuming will take some of you many hours, you can then make your class choice, which, as most should already be aware, includes mage, warrior, and rogue, each of which will have their own 3 unique specializations, which are basically your subclasses in a way. I did go over all of this in a previous video. I will leave a link below. Now, after your class choice, you choose your first and last name. There's some sort of name generator that we heard about in a previous article that you can use if you want to, and then you'll choose between one of 4 voices, each with pitch shifters to further customize. Now, we're told that the 4 voices will be English, masculine, English, why am I pronouncing things weird? English, feminine, American masculine, and American feminine. Now, with all these choices, some of you are bound to make a few mistakes, of course, or have a couple regrets, but fear not. The Mirror of Transformation, which can be found in the Lighthouse, which is basically like the central hub type place for this game. This mirror will be available to use to change your character's appearance at any time. Now, Wesley writes that your class, your lineage, and your identity cannot be changed with a mirror, so make sure that you choose right in character creation for those in particular. Now, after that, you of course head into the game, which starts you off in Minrathous, the capital city of the Tevinter Imperium, which is the gameplay that you're watching. And all right, let's head into the final section of this video. Let's start off with the gear that you will find in this game. It's going to be bespoke to your character, your character Rook, the main character, and their followers. So if you play as a warrior, you will be finding warrior armor more so than finding mage player character armor. Now, also there is armor designed for specific companions. So some, or maybe all of the armor, not entirely sure, for companions can't be used on different companions. So Lace Harding has her own special armor, just like Balara has her own. Wesley said that in his few hours of watching gameplay, he did see a lot of armor to collect from places such as chests scattered about, and armor does come in a variety of different tastes, let's say. Now, Transmog system has been confirmed, and BioWare says that it is robust. Transmog, for those of you unfamiliar, allows you to basically change the look of your armor to look like other armor that you've acquired without the stats actually changing. So if you find really cool looking armor but the stats are really not that great, you can still kind of get like the cosmetics for that cool armor while keeping your current armor stats. Transmog will also be able to be used for your companions as well. And yeah, that's basically it for this video. Sometimes we just get like little tidbits of Dragon Age news. It's not really enough to justify a video. So you guys might see me like wait a couple weeks before I do like another video. But you guys get it, right? I think you do. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Feel free to join the Discord server. The link is down below. We have some great Dragon Age fans over there, a great community for all RPGs in general. I hope to see you there. And yeah, if you like live streams, consider following me on Twitch or right here on this YouTube channel. Peace.